there was a big push from the members to move the organization in a direction of getting out front, being more proactive, being more aggressive, really, not just in representing the interests of local units of government for the legislation and the courts, but also getting out there in public policy discussions and putting forward new directions for our state. It's obvious that our state has been in financial crisis for a while. When you look at the demographics, it's a little bit deeper than just a dip that we have right now in the economy. We've got to really look at creating vibrant places and attractive places that people want to come and want to work in, want to play in, and want to live in. It's really the key as we move forward. And that's one of the things that the Board of Trustees talked about when they did some pretty substantial strategic policy initiatives about 2 years ago, where we sat down over the course of an entire summer. We talked about what the League can do and what the League can become for its members. But I can tell you that it's really the concept, not about what's going on right now. In Lansing, they're talking about next year's budget. That's really the fight that they're talking about. And they're trying to figure out how much they can cut and how much, if they do raise taxes, they can raise taxes and get away with to actually get to next year's budget. Next year's budget isn't the solution. The solution is creating a different way of moving communities forward. And that's something that we as community leaders can do. Yes, we need the state as partners. We need an effective state of Michigan moving out there. We need them to help us out in terms of our revenue streams, in terms of some of the programs and policies that they put together. But I think it's incumbent upon the people in this room and the people at the League to really lead this effort and to move us forward as an organization and move us forward as communities in Michigan. Again, putting communities at the center of our economic impact as far as moving forward. People can do their jobs from anywhere. We've got to create those distinctive, unique places that are attractive for people to come to. And it's not just to come and live. When you're a business looking at locating in a community, the best resource in that community are its people. It's no longer the water in the river to move the product of the industrial age. It's no longer the ore in the ground, for example. It's the people in a community. And I'm reminded of a firm I read about from the state of Virginia, a software development firm. They were looking to expand, and they were considering Seattle and Detroit. In Seattle, in the population, the city of Seattle, 52% of the people who live in the city have a college degree or higher, a bachelor's degree or higher. In Detroit, that number is 11%. So if you're a software developer in Virginia and you're moving forward, you can't choose Detroit over Seattle in that case, because your job, your whole way of doing business, your whole way of life is basically centered around hiring talented people to take your business product and move it faster than anybody else can move it in a globally competitive environment. And it's not, you might say that's an educational issue. Yeah, it's an educational issue, but it's also an issue about where these people want to live. And they want to do it regionally. How we get back, how we look at those types of things. Those are some of the things we're going to talk about. And the last point, I think the most important point, place matters. Place matters and trumps everything here. The community itself matters. 2/3, the slide said 2/3 of college-educated people decide where they want to live first. 25 to 34-year-olds. They decide where they want to live first, then they look for a job. How different is that than a generation ago? Completely. You know, if you work for Ford Motor Company, they said, hey, guess what? Monday morning you start in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. You go home, you throw a for sale sign on the lawn, you pack up the family, and you're gone. It's not the way of the future in terms of what they're doing. They're looking at where they want to live first, and then they're looking for work. And that's where you find these big clusters of talented people in metropolitan areas around the country, whether it's a Seattle, whether it's a Madison, Wisconsin, whether it's in Austin, Texas, some of the areas that are really doing well. And when I talk about cities and communities here, I'm not just talking about big cities, because it's no longer just a big city issue. It's a regional issue, it's a regional discussion, and it's a small town issue as well. Because one of the things that I think the small towns have the opportunity for in this emerging economy with this different demographic is to attract people for quality of life issues. The last couple of years, the regional cooperation question has been clouded by the state and them trying to fix their own budget problems. They don't have any money left on some of their issues. They're not able to stand up to their obligations on revenue sharing, on road funding, on some of the very important things going on in local units of government right now. And they've sort of gone carrot and stick and said, well, okay, Grand Rapids and Wyoming, you're not cooperating on X, Y, or Z, so that's why you're not going to be able to get more money moving forward. That's the wrong way of looking at regional cooperation. There are some economies of scale that should happen. The state needs to play a role in incenting regional cooperation moving forward, and we all need to be able to come to the table on some of those issues of policing and road maintenance and those types of things, and sort of sort of a base level type of a program. But the conversation that really I think is more important is up there on the screen. We need to be having regional conversations with true outcomes, not just conversations, but outcome-oriented conversations about attracting young people to region, about public transportation. You're going to hear this from the demographics people too. When these types of businesses look to come to a community, they expect to see it. But in January of 2008, which is now I think, 3-4 short months away, the League is going to be opening a new capital office in Lansing that's going to do a number of things for us. It's not just, absolutely, thank you. This is a culmination of a lot of hard work by staff. This is a culmination of our own internal planning, if you will. Our liability pool and our workers' compensation fund, together with the League, crafted a financing package where we were able to partially buy, along with the Chrisman Company, this particular 1927 gorgeous historic building that sits kitty corner from the Capitol. And we're going to be moving our Lansing-based staff in there. We're going to have training facilities. We're going to have broadcast facilities and podcast facilities, so that on our new website we can now send streaming video out to you, send podcasts out to you. You'll be able, rather than getting the static old emails, you're now going to get an email that says tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Summer Minnick, our lobbyist in Lansing, is going to interview the chair of the Appropriations Committee about revenue sharing. And you can tune in at 10 o'clock and listen or watch, or you can just go to our website after that and get firsthand information on what's happening right now, rather than sort of the old style static stuff. Rob Ferrari, our IT director, did a fantastic program this morning with Dean Westbrook from our staff as well, about how the internet used to be point, click, and read, and now it's point, click, and watch, it's point, click, and listen. There's a whole different array of ways that we can communicate with people, and we're going to be able to do a lot of that from this office. Here's our new tagline. It really leads into what we've been talking about, or what I've been talking about for the last half hour. Better communities, better Michigan. You can read it a whole bunch of different ways, but it all gets to the point where really communities are being at the center of our economic turnaround is something that's paramount in the state. And if we want to have a better state, we've got to make sure that we're holding on to our community. We're working behind the scenes to benefit communities. It's a felt but not seen mentality that affects every Michigan resident in ways they can't even imagine. And the second part is looking at a community. There are countless individuals who are helped by the League and by all the people here in this room. Our brand isn't just about us, it's about all of you here in this room. And when you step back and realize what the collective result is, it truly touches everyone. Here's our new logo. That's right. The new logo is meant to, and it's a logo. I mean, the brand is something that's much bigger, and the logo is part of it. But the whole emphasis of this isn't to come up with a new logo. It's really to communicate a different or a broader message and a more directed message in terms of the League is something we've been talked about for years, and we're really going to focus a lot of our efforts about talking about the League. If you look up here at a use of our brand, here is a very vibrant situation. A downtown farmers market that you'll find in just about all your communities here in this room, a very important part of what's going on in your community. And there's the League logo superimposed on the pavement. Talking about our influence can be felt in the most unexpected places. I don't think many people would, if they thought about a farmers market, even think about the city, even think about how that happened. But all this stuff, whether this is through a Main Street program that we're involved with, whether this is through revenue sharing dollars, whether that's on a public street, it's a road funding issue, whatever the case might be, we're involved in creating a vibrant community, and something like a farmers market is something that's very vibrant. The Michigan Municipal League is the one clear voice for Michigan communities. Through advocacy at the state and federal level, we proactively represent communities to help them sustain highly livable, desirable, and unique places within the state. We create and offer our members services and events that range from traditional to cutting edge in order to help educate and inspire them to remain focused on their passion for the area they represent. We're a nonprofit, but we act with the fervor of entrepreneurs. Our people are dynamic, energetic, and highly approachable, passionately and aggressively pushing change for better communities. And passionately and aggressively is very, very important. Creating and maintaining and really raising all communities in the state, large and small. It's something that we feel is very important to the future of Michigan and very important to everybody here in this room. So with that, I thank you all very much for coming. Enjoy the conference. We intend to put on a pretty good show. Thank you.